Hello everybody, Rosita here, and welcome to my channel, and welcome to this first video of many videos of this mini-series of the subjunctive mood. The study of the subjunctive mood involves understanding four things. The first is, what is the subjunctive? Second, it is essential to know how to form the four tenses of the subjunctive mood. Oh yeah, 4. Third, we're going to learn how to examine the specific clause types in which the subjunctive is often required. One will know when to use a certain clause and when not. And last of all, if the subjunctive must be used, one has to know how to select the correct tense. Now, let's talk about the definition of the subjunctive, shall we? And I'm assuming you guys would like a practical definition, right? Okay. So the subjunctive is a set of verb forms required in clauses of certain types. Now you guys are probably wondering, for those that have dibble-dabbled in the subjunctive mood, isn't the subjective supposed to express desire and doubt? We're going to get into that. But it is important to absorb this as a mental framework on which to place the corresponding sets of rules that we're going to learn in the next couple of videos for deciding whether the subjunctive is going to be needed or not. The rules that work in one set of circumstances will not apply in another. Many students of Spanish have been led to believe that the subjunctive is all about doubt and uncertainty, but that is only one aspect of one clause. If uncertainty or doubt were the whole explanation of the subjunctive and were predicative of when it needs to be used, then it would be correct to say Juan sea médico. No matter what the speaker believes, suspects, wishes, or doubts, what is, regardless of one's attitude about reality. This is why the need to use or not use the subjunctive is not determined by what is thought, or even what one knows or believes is true, but rather by the type of clauses involved. Now that little rant is over, let's discuss what in the world is a clause. A clause is a group of words with a grammatical subject, understood or expressed, and a conjugated verb. That sounds like what a sentence is, doesn't it? Well, because it is. Now, the clauses that are going to concern Spanish learners the most are the dependent clauses. Clauses that can't really stand on their own. Now, you might know the dependent clause as the subordinate clause. They're both the same thing. Whereas the independent clause can stand alone. But did you know that independent clauses can become dependent ones? The 4 types of clauses that we'll discuss in future videos will be the subordinated noun clause, the subordinated adjective clause, the adverbial clause, and the hypothetical or contrary to fact statements. Now, once the forms of the subjunctive are mastered, then the decision-making process is going to be reduced to identify which clause, or rather, which subjunctive you're going to use. Now, the next important thing outside knowing what a clause is to notice that they are introduced by the word that. A conjunction. Conjunction function. Come on, Schoolhouse of Rock? No? Yes, just like conjunction function. If you guys were not a 90s baby, you probably don't know what that is. But that is okay. A conjunction is basically a joining word. Think of it as a link, a word that links 2 sentences together, okay? Especially English speakers that are learning Spanish. please keep in mind that the word that can be omitted in English without changing the message or it becoming ungrammatical. Pero en español, híjole. In Spanish, yes. If an assertion is placed in a subordinated position, the corresponding conjunction or word linking the two parts of the sentence, the connective word que, which is going to equal to the conjunction that, has to be used. Now, once the forms of the subjunctive are mastered, the decision-making process is reduced to identifying the type of clause involved and then applying the corresponding set of rules to determine whether the subjunctive is going to be needed. And last of all, the rules about sequence of tense will determine which of the 4 subjunctive forms to use if, in fact, the subjunctive is going to be needed. The 4 tenses of the subjunctive. Your first goal is to know how to form the 4 tenses of the subjunctive. Now let's start with some basic definitions. The tense of a verb refers to the time in which the action it expresses occurs. Infinitives do not have a tense. Infinitives are the basic form of a verb. In English, moods are expressed by modal verbs that introduce infinitives. For example, by auxiliary or helping verbs such as can, could, should, would, must, might, may, will, and shall. In Spanish, these ideas are expressed by verbs such as poder and deber y hay más. Unfortunately, there is no set of one-to-one rules to show how Spanish handles the English modal modal verbs. Now in Spanish, we have 4 tenses of the subjunctive. So we are going to be talking about the present subjunctive, the imperfect subjunctive, the present perfect subjunctive, and the pluperfect subjunctive, also known as the past perfect subjunctive. If you guys have questions about what are clauses and adverbials and all that fun stuff, please leave your questions in the comment section below. Don't forget to check out my profile at takelessons.com. There's a button that says Ask Rosita a question. All questions do go directly to me. And until next time, I'll see you in the next video. Bye!